With his fierce optics focus and Cybertanium blades shining like a blur, he leaps into battle, slashing ever so closely to vengeance. He was always ready for a challenge, but there are still many questions regarding his character. How did he get here? And is he still alive? His name was Sideswipe. This is his origin story. What's up you guys, my name is RBG and welcome to my new video segment, Transformers Movie Universe History. In a previous episode I did a video covering the origins of the menacing Decepticon overlord Megatron. That video got a huge reception, amassing over 500,000 hits and 5,000 likes, and to that I have to say I'm eternally grateful for all you guys' support. As I mentioned in all my videos, that I myself am aware of all the hate the Bayformers receive and have to agree that most of it is warranted. But I want to take you guys on a journey and show you some of the positives this universe has to offer, because if we're gonna be honest, there are certain characters in the films that don't get their just due. Just to give you guys a heads up, if you haven't seen the movies or read the comic book material used in this video, it will come off a bit spoilerish, so be advised. In today's episode, we'll be uncovering the history of the sword-wielding speed skater Sideswipe. A pretty cool character who's built quite the cult following in the Bayformers universe. Don't know if I can say that about his other incarnations since I wasn't really a fan either way. Like a lot of secondary Autobots who were literally introduced with no actual backstory, he came off a little one-dimensional compared to our original robot cast we got in the first film. This is evident by the lack of dialogue presented in TF2 and 3. Like you sense that Michael Bay was trying to give the viewers an idea of what each new character's personality is like by projecting it through their dialogue. For example, you get the idea that Sideswipe is this flashy and somewhat unapologetic speedster through his action sequences and badass one-liners.
Damn, I'm good.
But that's pretty much all there is to the character. It's kinda unfortunate considering the fact that the character still to this day has one of the most interesting conceptual designs of the majority of the Transformers cast. He may be one of my least favorites in the films, but I can honestly see why he's garnered the attention of the core Transformers fans and casuals alike. Even though his development and complexity was lacking in the previous films, fans had hoped that he would sort of come into his own, so to speak. There were so many looming questions. What gives his spark that drive or motivation to want to serve his Autobot brethren? As most fans of the series know, each Transformer has a past. We want to know what made them choose which faction to serve under. I mean, don't get me wrong, the main mythology will always revolve around the toys, but subsequently there were a lot of stories told about each robot. One of the main things I think the film should have done from the beginning is open the floodgates and inform the casual audience that there is an entire universe out there of not only Transformer characters, but Transformer history. There are chapters within books of this story of the Civil War on Cybertron and the story of where the Transformers come from. I believe Sideswipe's story falls perfectly in between those elements because he's essentially a byproduct of the Cybertronian War. With that said, let's delve into the origins of our cocky yet mysterious dual-blade wielding Autobot. For my references, I'll be using the IDW movie-based comics. This includes the Tales of the Fallen and Alliance issues, which are part of the Revenge of the Fallen arcs. I'll also be using the Defiance comics to further flesh out some of the smaller details. As the planet was devastated by worsening war, Sentinel Prime was forced to make a deal with Megatron to seek out another planet whose resources they can exploit to restore their homeworld. The chosen planet was the resting place of the Prime Star Harvester. During the fiery war, Autobot and Decepticon casualties were at their highest. A new breed of soldiers had to be made and brought to fight on the battlefield to serve their respective teams. Unlike most Autobots, Sideswipe, part of a younger generation built during wartime, was made to fight. He was created with full knowledge of the Cybertronian battlefield, designed solely for killing, literally born with battle instincts and blade already at hand. His swords were detachable so he could throw them at enemies if he needed. He was sleek, fast, focused, and accomplished in battle. As more gathered to Optimus Prime's cause, the young Autobot Sideswipe came to train under Ironhide, a stern but trigger-happy Transformer who was more than willing to push the Autobot code to the limit if he thought it would get the job done faster. After Sideswipe's training was complete, he went on to become the protector of a settlement of displaced Autobots. But the settlement would be discovered by the pitiless Demolisher. Sideswipe, being the overly cocky warrior he is, jumped into battle with no logical plan of taking down the massive Decepticon brute.
Pull back, Sideswipe! That's an order!
Ironhide yelled as he unleashed an onslaught of missiles to incoming Decepticons.
Sorry, old timer.
Sideswipe replied.
Can't hear a word you're saying over all this noise. Damn it, lad. There's a time to advance and a time to hold fast for reinforcements. This is the latter. Maybe in your playbook, you taught me well, Ironhide, and I'm grateful, but you become prudent, conventional. I've grown beyond you.
Sideswipe replied as he continued to cut down all Decepticons, increasing his head count. The battle continued to rage on until the once stable Autobot fortress was engulfed in flames.
The enemy chose the colony at random. It could have been any accumulation of displaced Autobots,
Sideswipe muttered. He gazed at his fallen comrades' burnt corpses in sympathy as he crawled from the rubble. Sideswipe was ashamed, not only having failed to protect his charges, but also because he had lived to tell the tale.
It was my job to protect them. I failed, and worse, I lived. But I would never stop, never rest. I am a warrior. I bleed conflict. I will find him, and I will kill him, or die trying.
Fast forward to the events of Transformers 1. After the big battle in Mission City, Optimus Prime sent out a homing beacon to attract any scattered Autobots who may have heard his call. Sideswipe was among the few that answered the beacon and arrived on the planet on the wrecker's ship, Decepticon. The ship and the wrecker stayed behind in NASA and had hidden themselves in the junkyard. Once discovered, they were brought to Diego Garcia to train with the other Autobots and Major Linus' soldiers in defense of their new home. All except Sideswipe, of course. He had other things to worry about besides family reunions. He had a score to settle with a longtime foe. Shortly after setting foot on Earth, he was more than focused. He wasted no time in choosing the perfect vehicle to aid him on his high-speed quest for revenge. He came across a 2009 Chevy Corvette Stingray concept, a car that just so happens to be one of the fastest and worthy of being an out mode for a cutthroat speedster such as Sideswipe. It was like the stars were aligning themselves for this very moment. Sideswipe proved to be a loose cannon as he continued his vendetta against Demolisher.
What is this, slow motion? Get out of my way!
Sideswipe shouted as he impatiently transformed into robot mode and began slamming away at random vehicles. As he pursued his target, he noticed he was drawing closer due to the aftermath of destruction left behind by the giant behemoth on wheels.
Looks like the enemy cares nothing for the local life forms or their fragile world. Neither do I. They're just between me and him.
Meanwhile, at the Autobot hangar, Optimus Prime caught wind of all the chaos Sideswipe was causing in his high-speed chase with Demolisher. "He's one of yours?"
Yes, the Autobot known as Sideswipe,
replied Optimus. "Really? Because I automatically assumed he was the enemy."
An understandable assumption, Admiral Morshower. He's always been a little on the overeager side.
Overeager? This is overkill, Morshower yelled. "We had an understanding, Prime. There's your lot and there's them. No gray areas."
Yes, I stand by that. One way or another, we'll deal with Sideswipe. You have my word on it.
Prime quickly assured Admiral Morshower that they would forcibly bring Sideswipe in if necessary. Morshower responds, "See that you do. Morshower out."
Major Linux, do we have a fix on Sideswipe's current position?
"Yes," Linux replies as he looks at the surveillance. "He and the cons have been tracking just across the border in Argentina. They're headed for Buenos Aires." Optimus Prime kneels down at the Major's eye level and replies,
"Assemble your team, Major. I'll do likewise."
"And what if your boy won't stand down, Prime?"
"Then we shall be forced to demonstrate if he's not the solution, he's the problem."
Ironhide quickly interrupts.
"Prime, let me have the first crack at him. Try to bring him back in line. He's misguided, but he's an asset we could rely on." "And what makes you think you could reach him?"
asked Optimus.
"I taught him, trained a lot to fight, and well, I understand a little about what's driving him. I was just like him once."
Optimus ultimately gives in to his weapon specialist's request.
"Take the first C-17. We'll give you 1 hour's grace. After that, we take him out of play the hard way."
Sideswipe reached the Azaza International Airport, where his reckless actions caught up with him. Ironhide was hot on his tails. He slowly drove into the airport, surveying the area for Demolisher.
"The enemy has the ground somewhere within the perimeter of this aerial transportation hub. True unfaster than he is, I'd have eventually caught up with him. He's 3 times as powerful. He left me for dead the last time we fought. So why does he hide? What's he waiting for?"
Sideswipe pondered.
"I can't wait any longer. I gotta flush him out now."
Sideswipe revved his engines, floored the gas, and proceeded through a crowd of innocent bystanders.
"Chances are the bastard's waiting for reinforcements. Has to be the hangars. The enemy is hardly what I call inconspicuous. But which one is it?"
As Sideswipe began to burn out to another location, local law enforcement ensued. Soon as he tried to tail it out of there, boom! He was caught off guard with a big explosion. It was Demolisher hiding in wait.
"Sideswipe, didn't I kill you once?"
Sideswipe put the pedal to the floor and drifted out of the way as Demolisher attempted to crush him.
"How you beat me last time is beyond easy comprehension."
Sideswipe spouted with confidence. Now that he was in the presence of his main target, he was willing to use every trick in the book to put him down. But little did he know that his giant foe had an ace up his sleeve. Demolisher knew that Sideswipe was a prideful warrior who loved to relish in the moment of glory with total disregard of his surroundings. He knew if he wanted to kill the young Autobot, he'd have to make him angry. All the human bystanders did nothing but give the Decepticon a home field advantage. He began ripping airplanes apart, tossing them at random civilians as he chased Sideswipe.
Forget how fast he is. My best chance is to round him up. Mad equals careless. Careless equals vulnerable.
Demolisher said to himself as he continued to cause chaos.
Come here. I'll bring your exostruts and eat your spark.
Sideswipe quickly turns and rushes toward Demolisher. He hits his nitro boost, transforms, and launches himself for a head-on attack with his Cybertanium blades pointed directly at the giant Decepticon's chest. But Demolisher quickly swats him out of the sky, causing him to graze the asphalt and scratch up his paint job. Shortly after that, an Autobot plane quickly swoops in.
Ah, about time. It's tough to classify one Autobot as a massacre. Tradition demands a plural.
Demolisher says dotingly. It was there that Sideswipe realized.
Damn it, I'm an idiot. The enemy was waiting, yes, but not for Decepticon reinforcements, for Autobot reinforcements.
This place is too out in the sticks for me. I like more in the way of collateral. Catch me if you can.
Demolisher gestured as he tumbled off the base. Sideswipe transformed and continued to follow suit, but Ironhide arrived on the scene to rein him in. The younger Autobot was openly insubordinate towards Ironhide, warning him not to get in the way.
Ironhide, get out of my way. He wants us to pursue him. You get that right? This is all fun and games to him, and it'll inevitably involve a whole lot of civilian casualties.
Ironhide stated firmly as he began transforming into robot mode.
Let the others handle him. You've lost your perspective on this one.
Sideswipe also transforms into robot mode and looks his former mentor straight in his optics.
What? You think I can or won't just go around you, old-timer? I was right. That cutting edge you once had, it's dull and blunted.
Ironhide turns his back and replies.
Whatever I once was, I was never reckless, and that's what this is. Whatever, old man. However you dress it up, this is all about you, about your wounded pride as a warrior. You walk a fine line, Sideswipe. Step over it, you become the enemy.
Sideswipe was done listening to his old superior try to alter his judgment, so he quickly reverted back to vehicle mode and followed Demolisher's trail of destruction.
Just stay out of my way!
Meanwhile, the giant Decepticon brute continued his rampage in the city, taunting Sideswipe.
Come on, Autobrats! Try and stop me before I raise this entire city. I could do this all day and night. I never get tired. I'll burn this entire planet if I have to.
Ironhide continues to try to persuade Sideswipe.
Slow down, lad. Don't let him goad you. Our job is to draw him away, out of the city. My job is to bring him down, anywhere, anyhow. Stay out of it.
Ultimately, all the old veteran could do was serve as damage control during Sideswipe's single-minded pursuit in the city of Buenos Aires.
Run! Clear the area! Hurry!
Ironhide yelled. Sideswipe eventually catches up with Demolisher. It was just them, in an intense stare-down.
We finished this, Demolisher. Here and now.
Right!
Demolisher replies as he snickers under his breath. Sideswipe began strategically assaulting the behemoth from every angle.
The mistake I made last time was trying to match you blow for blow. I'm faster, more agile, and a whole lot smarter. And that's what's going to win this fight.
He slashed away at Demolisher's exposed vitals and blind spots.
How long, I wonder, before I hit something critical?
As he begins to mount onto the giant, he grew aggravated.
You're an irritation, nothing more. And when I get an itch, I scratch it.
Demolisher pounds the ground, sending out an enormous shockwave. In the wake of all the destruction, Buenos Aires Air Force gets involved, launching missiles at any alien robot they see. 2 missiles head directly towards Sideswipe without him noticing, and Ironhide quickly dives in the direction to shield his former pupil. Another random projectile hits Demolisher, but it wasn't from the air. It was from Autobots. More reinforcements from Nest arrived.
Tell the Air Force to stand down now,
Lennox yells into the communicator.
What? Well, find someone who speaks Spanish.
Demolisher sees he's outnumbered and begins to flee.
This isn't over. We'll finish it. At a time and a place of my choosing.
In the aftermath of this event, Sideswipe saw the fear and mistrust the humans regarded him with because of his violent actions. Understanding this, in the end, he was forced to admit that Ironhide was right. His admonishment was correct. And that, my friends, is where the story ends. I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson regarding our favorite dual blade wielding Autobot. Unfortunately, Sideswipe never really got a chance to exact his vengeance, but Demolisher still met his maker thanks to Optimus Prime and Ironhide. As I mentioned before, he's not really one of my faves, but I can understand why he's built a cult following. He's one of the most requested Autobots that fans want to see make a return to the films, and the most asked about in regards to being alive or not. Is he still alive? I honestly can't tell you. There's a lot of outside evidence that suggests that he bit the bullet thanks in part to the CIA Black Ops unit Cemetery Wind. But that info came from an Age of Extinction collector's card, so I won't believe that conclusion until it comes directly out of Michael Bay's mouth. There's always a good chance a former member of the roster can make a triumphant return. Just look at Barricaded Megatron. They made a comeback with some awesome looking cosmetic upgrades that blow their past forms out of the water, at least in my opinion. In most cases, Transformers are ditched from the cast or given a new vehicle mode because the companies don't want their products promoted anymore, or they don't want to mislead people into thinking their products will be available in the near future. Since the Chevy Corvette Stingray was nothing more than a concept vehicle, it was never really meant to be mass produced. It was only made to showcase the new styling and technology. It's basically a prototype car. So I'm guessing that General Motors forced Michael Bay and Paramount to stop using that in their films. This is most likely why B's Age of Extinction vehicle mode won't be returning in The Last Night, considering the fact that it was nothing more than a concept vehicle as well. But anyways, what do you guys think of Sideswipe's origin story? Do you find it interesting? Does it help you appreciate the expanded universe that the Bay films have presented? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on future content on this channel. And if you're interested in more Transformers history videos like this one, or just Transformers videos in general, subscribe and hit that notification button to stay updated, and check me out on Twitter. And to get a confirmation that you watched the video in its entirety, follow your comments up with hashtag #TillAllGamersAreOne. I just want to say thank you to the notification squad who comes through and supports these videos. Without you guys, this channel would not be where it's at right now. But anyways, this is your boy RBG hitting you guys up in another video. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Autobots and Decepticons, prepare for battle, stay by the transform, and all the systems begin. Change can happen from within, you never know. That's Optimus Prime, change, you know me.